All right, fashion dolls, and we are back. We are back. We are back. Hopefully, you guys can hear me this time. I had to start a new live because he couldn't really hear me. So we're gonna add stuff on back. All right, fashion dolls, and we're back. Can you guys hear me? Can everybody see me? All right, let me add stuff on back. Give me 1 second.
Hello.
There we go. We're back. Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you.
Perfect. Perfect. Welcome. Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Thank you.
It is such a pleasure to have you here, ladies and gentlemen, Stephan Jackson. So before we get into this interview, how has 2022 been for you thus far? Because we know we've had some ups and downs with this pandemic, and it seems like it's never ending. So how's it been for you thus far?
Well, it's been an interesting year so far. I got over COVID that I had, and that kind of knocked me back a notch or two. But other than that, it's just been a good year of preparation and getting ready for some really exciting things that are coming up in the very near future. Yeah.
All right. All right. All right, fashion dolls. So let's get into this interview. So you began acting in Detroit, Michigan, am I correct?
Yes, yes. Seventh grade. Seventh grade. Yeah,
Wow.
seventh grade. That's when it all began. Yep.
So tell us about this experience for you growing up in Detroit, wanting to get into acting, starting off in the 7th grade.
Well,
What did you always knew you wanted to be an actor?
when I was a little kid, my mom used to take me to the Detroit Institute of Arts, where they used to have children's theater. And I was fascinated by the productions that would be done there. And I even had the opportunity to participate in one of the plays. And I had an article done in me in Detroit Free Press when I was a little kid that if I'd have thought about it, I would have brought it for you to see. But it showed me interacting with some of the other characters that were in it. And I think at that time I was only like maybe 8 or 9 years old. But that continued on into middle school, where I had several leading roles in major productions. And the funny thing was, I don't know if anybody that's listening is from Michigan or from the Detroit area, but I attended a school called University Liggett School, which is in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. It's a private school. And needless to say, I was the minority. Um, and I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to be casted in leading roles in The Man of La Mancha, The Fiddler, which I played Tevye, which was hilarious. We did The King and I. Then in college, I went on to major in vocal and performance music and theater. I was in several productions there. And then after that, life just continued on going. I don't want to get too far ahead of the interview, but that's how it all began.
No, you're on the right page because I read some of your bio while I was in the chair getting hair and makeup done. So absolutely. And you're also a Marine Corps. So you served in the
I
Marine
am.
Corps as an
I
officer.
went into the Marine Corps
Okay.
after college. I'm a captain in the Marine Corps. I was an infantry officer, which was interesting. I did 10 years in the Corps, and then that became over, and started trying to raise a family, and had three wonderful sons, all of which are grown-ups, somewhere out there in the IG world, doing their own thing. And yeah, it's just been an interesting journey thus far. I got back into acting probably about, I want to say 13, 14 years ago now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was the wait? What was the holdup? Because I know every actor has their period where it's just like, okay, I'm going to jump right back into that.
Well, life happened. Life happened, Stevie. I went through a number of changes, so to speak, concerning my sons, ups and downs, divorces, things of that nature. Uh, Finally, I found the woman that I've been married 3 times, but I've only had one wife, if that makes any sense. and she's the one that's
Okay.
with me now. So she's my ride or die. But life happened, and I got away from myself for several years. Obviously, being in the military, I didn't have an opportunity to pursue that aspect of me. Then after the Marine Corps, it became trying to see about three lives that existed in my world other than my own, and that was my boys. So, I really didn't have a chance to start tuning back into my purpose uh, until about 13, 14 years ago. Yeah.
And you talk a lot about family. You mentioned your sons and you mentioned your beautiful wife as well too. With this pandemic going on, and even for me as a host, my co-star Roman knows this. We did a film together. We did a horror film. The Assistant too. You guys can go and check it out. And we had a little exchange in the film. It was pretty funny, so you guys will enjoy it. But and I'm pretty sure a lot of the cast members that did that particular project kind of understand where I'm coming from when we talk about separation anxiety. And I'm asking you this question as an actor, from the actor standpoint. How do you find the balance between two, as Stephan the actor and Stephan the family man?
Well, a lot of the roles that I've had over the past few years have been very, uh, very geared toward. I would even go so far as to say certain parts of my actual character. I've played law enforcement. I've played dad. I've played FBI agents. I've played things of that nature, and most of them, if not all of them, have had some component that I've been able to tie in with my own experiences, which obviously is very important as an actor to be able to bring those behavioral observations into focus and then be able to put them into your character. One of my dogs is barking. We have two German shepherds.
We're here.
But I can honestly say that this pandemic has been very challenging because I've not had the same opportunities to work in this craft over the past year and a half or so that I've had in the past. Before the pandemic, I was driving back and forth to New York or Philly 2 or 3 times a week, whether it was for auditions or for showing up for call times that were extremely early. But when COVID happened, uh, it changed the whole ball game. The paradigm shifted, so it was very challenging. But that's all shifting back now.
Yes, a little normalcy. And I said that yesterday when I did my interview with Casey, that things are starting to open up. You're starting to see just a little bit of normalcy. And sets are starting to still follow those guidelines, but it's loosening it up just a tad bit. We're still taking precautions. So we're starting to see that normalcy that everybody's been looking for. But still, we still have to walk on eggshells with this thing. There's always something new coming up. So with that being said, how do you manage being separated away from your family? Because I know you're on set and you're having a goal, like you said, you drove to New York and other places like that. How do you manage? Because thank God, I'll just say this, thank God for the power of technology, the powers that be, that keep everyone informed with each other. Like my girlfriend Felicia, I just got through texting her, and then my cousin and my grandma and so many others. And I've seen people literally do Zoom dinners and things during the holidays. Like people have just become so creative, and I hate that it took for this to happen. But this was everybody's wake-up call to get God's way of getting everybody's attention. I couldn't get it out, but my mom said we never expected this to happen. We never expected this to happen.
Well, I two of my sons live in Los Angeles. One of my sons lives in Denver. My youngest son is a up and coming producer and rap artist out there, A.E. Jers, and my middle son is starting his own clothing line out there, SAP 9 Clothing, giving them a special shout out. And my oldest son is in Denver, just doing his thing. He's into the food industry. and he's about to look into doing some other really, really interesting things. So for me, they're not here. So the only way I really communicate with them is using social media or FaceTime or things of that nature. Plus my granddaughter, who we just had about 1.5 years ago, Nora, is my middle son's daughter. And she FaceTimes me, and my name is Papa. So, it's been challenging. We have some things that are coming up shortly that will call for some good time management. And, I'm very grateful for having the ability to use social media to bridge those gaps, so to speak.
And I'm thankful for that. I get to visit my grandma. Of course, I see my mom and dad every day. And then I just saw my brother and his girlfriend. I call her like the little baby sister. I'm like big sister to her. They came down just not too long ago, Sunday, so I got to see them Sunday. And of course, we did it. It was very small. We didn't do a whole big gathering. And we got our pets, of course. So it's just those little things. And I know everybody misses that physical touch of being able to just reach out and give their family members a hug and kiss mom on the cheek. All of these things that we used to do, we have to do it a little bit different. And it hurts, but we have to take precautions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We have to be mindful of the new reality that we're faced with, because it's not going away.
Absolutely.
And our ability to adjust and adapt to it is what will make it okay.
And speaking of work, you have a very extensive catalog of work, sir, might I add. Let's go down the list here. Luther, Alone, Part 2, House of Death, the prequel, Kidnapped, Lost, the
Yep.
starring Holly Berry, Keys, We Bring the Rain, 509, short film, Weirdo, and the newest project, which will be released sometime in 2023, next year, Night Stalker.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening right now, most of which the stuff that's either in script or in pre-production. I'm really not at liberty to go into too many details about it right now, but just stay tuned for Jasper. You will have not seen anything like it. I have a very substantial role in that trilogy. It's actually 3 movies back to back, so we'll be putting that together. But just stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of good film coming out of this area very shortly, and your boy's going to be in on it.
All right, Fashion Dolls, y'all got to stay tuned for that. So out of the ones that you've previously worked on, which one did you have the most fun working on, and which character or film holds a very special place close to your heart?
Well, I've enjoyed all of it, really. I did a tremendous amount of commercial work. I will say that probably the most wonderful experience to date was I did a national Tylenol campaign for What Moves Me. It dealt with the arthritis that people have, and they created a band of adult musicians. I'm also a percussionist. I'm also a percussionist, and I had the opportunity to play in this commercial. We did the song "Don't Stop." My dogs are losing their minds right now. I'm sorry. Just give me a minute. Give me a moment. All right, they're outside. So anyway, with this commercial that we did for Tylenol, they gave us a choice. They said, well, you can either, have a short put on the back of the commercial run, or you can get an article done in the New York Times Magazine. So I thought about it, and I said, well, I think I'll go with the New York Times Magazine. So about a month and a half went by, and I didn't think they were going to do it. A friend of mine called me who lives in New York and said, is this you I see in the New York Times Magazine in the paper? I was like, I guess so. So it was a blessing, because I had a 2-page article in the international New York Times Magazine, and that's one of the things that really helped boost my career at the time. And then from there, I did a huge number of commercials. I did a lot of shorts. I did, what else did we do? We did a good amount of television. I appeared on Law and Order for a couple episodes. I did a few episodes on Blue Bloods. I was on Blind Spot. I was on Madam Secretary for a run there. So it's been a very interesting experience so far. It's just getting more and more interesting every day. Yeah.
It's a journey. There's more and more to come. Oh, we got a question. Shout outs to Liz Music. She wants to know, how do you feel trilogies take away or enhance the original thought behind a project?
Well, in terms of a trilogy, and I can only speak from the experience that I've been involved in, but I believe that trilogies are best served when you're operating within a very small context of time. And what I mean by that, if you have a trilogy film that, for example, is based on, let's just say, a month period in time, but because of the concentration of events that occur over the duration of that concentration of time, 3 movies can be created within it. And each one is a lead-in to the next. So in terms of a trilogy of that nature, I think it's great. Now, if you have a trilogy where you're dealing with a more extended period of time, then it becomes more difficult to shoot that, first of all, because of continuity. And it's very difficult to maintain the same people, the same places, the same propping, the same background individuals that might be necessary. So it's harder, in my viewpoint, to maintain that consistency if you're dealing with a broad time frame for your trilogy, or for any matter of consecutive filming that is done. I'll give an example, like the Star Wars series or Star Trek or any of the episodic series where you're going from one episode to the next and the story just keeps going. I think in those terms, it's easier to follow. But when you're talking about a movie, it's very important to keep it concentrated, keep it close, so that you don't lose too much of it. Unless, of course, you're talking about The Godfather, in which case you have a family and following them, and that's a whole different context altogether. But I hope that answered your question.
Oh, she's got another one.
Okay.
She would like to know, would you want to continue being a part of a project if too much time elapses?
Well, one of the good things about movie magic and one of the good things about Hollywood is that time is relevant, but time is not the main focus. Because, I could be working on 3 projects at once. You'd never know it. And even in terms of the continuity that I would need as that character, yeah, it could be challenging. For example, facial hair. This is mine. I grew this. But if I'm in a piece that starts off with me with this, and then the next series of the saga, I'm without it, or it's a flashback and I'm younger, or things of that nature that have to be done using more makeup or more movie magic or more deep fake, which we have to our advantage now. You can change anything. It just really depends on really the budget that you have to work with, and can you keep paying these actors to stick around long enough?
It's a whole process, especially when you're doing like prosthetic makeup. Is that it? Prosthetic makeup, when you're trying to change someone's appearance so they look completely unrecognizable, right, and the way the director or producer wants the film to come out. So it's a whole process. Like, I've literally seen behind the scenes of how the makeup artist would have to sit with the actor and transform them into a completely different person to look unrecognizable. If they want to age you, if they want to make you look a little bit older, or if they want to turn you into, let's just say, a zombie or whatever, there's a whole process to it.
Yeah.
So speaking of prosthetics and changing, for you, throughout your career, is there any roles that you got offered where you were just like, okay, ooh, this is a little bit too deep for me? In other words, have you ever felt yourself taking a role and you're going too hard into the role? I asked Casey this question yesterday. Have you ever took a role where it's just like, okay, I need to bounce back. I'm not, the character anymore. I'm Stephan.
I think the closest I got to that was the Luther role, in which I had to play a gangster. But, once again, that's just probably maybe somewhere deep down inside of me, part of my character type. So I just had to draw on that imagination, because I was the only child. So I had a whole lot of time on my own. And, what does the only child do when he wants to create a playmate? Well, he creates a playmate. You back in the time frame when I was a kid, I'm not going to give up my age, but you probably figured out eventually. But, we didn't have video games. We didn't have social media, and the extent of a phone was how long the cord could go from the kitchen back to the bedroom so I could talk on it. So, our creativity and our ability to be creative became part of the reason why I love being an actor so much, because I can create anything I want. I can be anyone I want. I can do anything I want. I can fly if I want to. I can teleport if I want to. I can be a superhero. I can be a super genius. I can be a super villain. I can be anything. So, did I answer the question? I think I did.
That's a good one. and that's the power of actors. It's about transformation. You're supposed to make the character believable. So people be like, okay, even when you're not the character, when you're walking out, people will still recognize you as that specific character. So what was your son's reaction and your wife's reaction to seeing you in Luther? Because I've seen some of it as well, too. And I was just like, wow. I was kind of scared. I was intimidated. I said, oh, my God. So I'm not going to lie. I was intimidated coming into this interview, but just seeing you out of the character, you're a completely different person. So what was your wife's and son's reaction to seeing Luther?
Well, they always look at Dad being another character now. But, for them, they're just watching me work. This is what I do. Some people get up every day and go to a job, and they do that job because that's what they do. As an actor, I get up and go to set. And that's what I do. I when you're at home studying for your finals, I'm at home studying my sides, learning my character. When you're at the gym working out just to work out, I'm at the gym working out because I have to change my body for some reason, or that's my job, So they just saw Dad being Dad, because when the lights go on and the word action is said, the method begins, they're not turning to Luther. You know what I'm saying?
Completely different character.
That's who I become. Because ain't nobody playing. You understand me?
Oh, yes. See?
Yeah.
That's why I was right there. I was intimidated. If you guys haven't seen it, please go and check it out. We got another question from Liz. She says, good scene. Would you stay with the project if the salary was not a desired one?
Well, that's a good question. At this point in my career, I've had to make some decisions concerning what it is that I will and will do, for whom and for what. You know, I'm not quick to turn down a role just because of the money. I do prefer to be paid for my time, just like everybody else prefers to be paid when they go to work. But I don't. I will not turn down a role just because it's not going to pay me the way that I feel like it should.
Mm.
There are some roles that I will not do without a signed contract and with a clear specification as to how things are going to go from a fiduciary standpoint. However, I do have people that I'm close to. I'm also very, very, very high on student films. You know, I think that in order for a film student to be able to truly excel, they need to have a good medium to work with, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, we are that medium. We are that clay with which a director or a writer can see this work come to fruition. So you know, I've not turned down much, but as time goes, I mean, you know, I pay my union dues like everybody else. That's part of the SAG-AFTRA, and so I have certain obligations as a union actor. But you know, I just love this craft. I love doing what I do. And there's some others out there. I see Donald Schuler was popped in there. What's up, man? Good to see you, son. He's like my acting nephew. But you know, I just love what I do.
Oh, oh, that was a powerful and deep question, Liz. She wants to know: have you ever faced any racial tensions in any project you have been a part of, and how have you handled it?
Um, I tend to not. Let me put it the right way. I tend to not allow myself to be faced with those types of challenges. And thus far in my career, I've not had to deal with that. I think some of my personality exudes a certain amount coming towards me that, you know, because I've had people say, oh, you know, don't deal with this person because they're thus and so and these are racist, whatever. But then when I come in contact with them, I don't have that problem at all. But I think, you know, as different people, we all command a different level of respect from people, regardless of our skin color. But I have not personally had to deal with racism on a set to the degree that I allowed it, first of all, to have an effect on me, but secondly, to have an effect on my performance or my ability to carry out my role. And that's my answer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Powerful question, and the answer, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we are going to transition over and we're going to have some fun here, Fashion Dolls. We're about to get into our games. The first one is called the Rapid Five. And Stephan has to tell us 5 things that he can't live without. The second one is going to be called Turn the Tables. And this is where my guests get to ask me questions uncensored and unfiltered. I have no idea what he's going to ask me, but my guests get to ask as many questions as they want. And this is for my new viewers to get to know the hostess, you know, a little bit about things that I like, I don't like, dislikes, turn-ons, all of those things. So we're going to start off with the rapid 5. What are 5 things that Stephan can't live without?
Water, um, exercise, uh, Mrs. Jackson, um, my sons, and vegetables.
All healthy things and essentials that we all need, 100%.
Yeah.
And that, again, family values, family circle, family
Yeah.
support, a strong support
Yeah.
system. Okay, All right, fashion dolls, it is time to turn those tables. Oh my goodness.
What is my
Oh,
power word? I see that question down there. Someone asked me, what is my power word?
yes.
My power word is yacht.
There you go. There you go. All right, fashion dolls, it is time to turn those tables. So I have no idea what Stephan is going to ask me. My guests get to ask as many questions that they want. So we're going to take it from here.
All right, it's my turn. All right.
Yes.
How long have you been doing this?
I started doing Style by Stevie right after I graduated high school. That would have been in 2016. And this is around the time I just got my beauty school license. I went to cosmetology class as well. And I said I wanted to do hair. And this is something that I wanted to do ever since I was a little child. I knew I had the gift and ability. Excuse me. Hold on one sec. I am back here doing an interview. Give me 1 second, you guys. Please hold on. Oh my goodness. Mom, I'm back here doing an interview. He's coming today. You picked a bad time. Okay, I'll do it after the thing.
Hi, bird. Lay down.
I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry about that. That was my mom. You were saying we were talking about how long have I been doing Style by Stevie. I started in 2016, and this was around the time I just got out of beauty school, fresh out of beauty school. And when I started, I was very cocky. I was very arrogant because I started off very young, at like 19, 20. Now I'm 28 years old, so I would go back and watch some of my older episodes from when I started, and I'll just be like, wow, you could have changed that a little bit different. But to see my growth from then to where I'm at now is a completely different experience. So yeah.
What do you plan to do with this? How does this evolve for you?
I would love to have Style by Stevie on national television, and it would be on my own terms. I would love to have my own network for all black content creators, black film directors, black film producers, all of them, sort of like BET, but a different version.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everybody to be included. Everyone that is doing something positive, showcasing their projects and their work on my network. So that will, and of course, this platform will be on there as well too.
How diverse is your customer base?
I have a when I first started, because I have co-hosts as well too, but I added the male co-host. I'll get to that a little bit in a little bit of how I added on the male co-host. But my fan base and my support system is mostly women, but men have taken a liking to the platform as well too. So LGBT, straight, everyone is welcome into this house. That's why I call it the Dollhouse, because I dress you guys with love. It's not just the fashion aspect of it, the glamour, the beauty aspect of it, but you also get gems from this as well too.
Let's see what else.
Okay.
Who is your favorite action actor?
My favorite action actor?
Yes.
My favorite action actor. It's so many. I am going to go with I would have to say Taraji P. Henson.
Okay.
And the reason why is because when she was in Proud Mary, we're seeing her different side of her. And of course, Empire, that I could say that was easy, but to see her in Proud Mary as this hit woman was a completely different side of her. So I would have to say Taraji P.
Do you ever see yourself doing any film acting?
Other than the assistant, I would love to do more acting. I absolutely would, because this was my first time ever doing an acting role. It was so funny because I got the role on my birthday. Alex, shout outs to Alex Jontine. He messaged me after we did an interview promoting his first project, which is the Assistant One, out on Amazon Prime right now. He said, would you like to be in the second one? And I said, absolutely. I have no acting experience. But when we did the table read, I nailed it, executed it perfectly. And then when we shot the actual film, the funny part about it was, and Roman, I don't know if Roman's still here, I think Roman might have left, but we kept reading over each other's parts. We read each other's parts, and I wish we could show you guys behind the scenes of what happened. It was so funny because we're reading each other's lines and things like that. That happened behind the scenes. So that was the funny part, but then we finally got it correct. But everybody remembered their lines though, so that's the good part about it. Nobody forgot a line. Everybody did an amazing job on that project, and it was a little bit out of my element because he wanted me to play a college professor. Now, we know how Black women are about our hair. So I'm a Black woman. For this role, he wanted me to have short hair. And at the time, I had this wavy, long, 30-inch unit down my back. And when he said, I want you to go short, and he told me the reason why, because he didn't want me to look like the college students. He wanted me to look like a college professor. So I said, okay, whatever you want. I literally screamed at the same time, but it was so worth it. And I was a little bit out of my element. So would I do more acting? Absolutely, yes.
And how many is that? Is that 4? I think I have one more, right?
Yes.
All right. Let's see what my last and final question. What is your last and final question? Have you ever considered? No, I think I already asked that question. What is your favorite food?
I love pepperoni pizza. That is my guilty pleasure. Stuffed crust, extra cheese, that is my guilty pleasure. That is my weakness. So that'll do it for me.
Sounds good.
All right, fashion dolls, and that concludes the Turn the Table segment. We've got a few more questions. I'm seeing the chat just rolling in. Okay, so this one is from Liz. She wants to know, being humble can be challenging at times. How do we both keep centered and humble?
After you.
I put God first in everything that I do, and I remember my mom telling me this because I had a conversation with her just the other day. My mom talk a lot, and I'm thankful to still have her here. She said, always put God first. You ain't too big to not forget that God has put you where you need to be. So don't you ever forget that God has put you here where you are at. So don't forget to put him first. Put him first in everything that you do. My grandmother even tells me that as well too. So God is what keeps me centered. I've been taking a lot of breaks off of social media as well too. Like you see me post, I'm a fashion girl. You guys know me. I love my fashion. I love my hair. I love my makeup. That also brings me happiness, but it's not about the glamour aspect of it. It's about taking that break for yourself. So I would have to say take a break if you need to. For me, because I do shows every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes Saturday. And everybody's like, well, Stevie, how do you do it? It's like you don't ever get any sleep, and then you wake up, boom, like this. So, so I have to take a lot of breaks. I take a lot of breaks, and I take time to spend time with my family. Sometimes you have to unplug literally and regroup and keep yourself focused and centered. So that's one thing. And I've been doing a lot of gardening and research on doing gardens, different flowers and things like that. So that's another thing that people don't know about me that I do outside of the show. So Janet Jackson, she said this, we must always water our spiritual garden. And in my garden, I put love, I put self-care, I put all of this and so much more. And that's how I stay so focused and so relaxed. And when I come on here, you guys see the happy woman that you guys see today. And how do I stay humble? I never forget where I come from. I'm a little old girl down here in South Carolina, and I'm not looking to get famous or anything. You know, I always remember the ones who have helped me get from point A to point B, and I've never turned my back on them. Like my girlfriend Felicia that's watching the show right now. I know she's here. If you hear a girl, type 1. I just got to talking to her a few minutes ago. So it's people like that. I never forget the ones that have helped me. A lot of people get so caught up in this industry, they get a big head. Nicki Minaj. Um, but I never forget where I come from. I never forget the ones who have helped me get to where I need to be. I won't feel alienated. I don't want to feel alienated. So always remember where you came from. Remember who you are, and never lose sight of who you are. So that would be my advice on staying humble. Because I see so many people like, oh, well, I got this, I got that, but do you know who helped you get to where you need to be? It was God and your family. And I'm strong on family values, family support, all of that and so much more. So that's how I stay humble.
Well, and I have to piggyback off of what Stevie said, but, Allah is everything. Without God, there is nothing. And I am constantly reminded of the frailty of man and the fact that as quickly as you can rise up, you can be laid down. As quickly as you can elevate, you can sink. And had God changed the equation for the universe by less than a microbe, nothing would exist. So we have to understand that we're just one of those little tiny microbes. Our lives in comparison to things is as if you took an eyedropper and dropped it in the middle of the ocean and expected a tidal wave. That is that humbleness that I carry with me every single day. I count it joy, and I count it a privilege to be able to wake up every day and do what I do and be able to say that I love what I do. It's not easy balancing life anyway. And when you get a big head and you think you're the end all say all, just be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Because just when you think you're the biggest thing ever, you find out how big you're not. Just the other day, when Will slapped Chris, whoopsie daisy, whoopsie daisy, whoopsie daisy, whoops, and I love my queen to death, but I think perhaps I would have handled that a little bit differently based on my humility. Because see, to me, having been in the military and having been in law enforcement and having been in martial arts, if I slap you, you're going to be unconscious. So that's not going to be a good idea for me to do personally. Secondly, you're not going to slap me. And thirdly, I'd probably just pull you off to the side later and say, yo, bruh, I really didn't appreciate that, what you said, man. And, just from here on out, let's just keep my family out your mouth. And that's how, man to man, that perhaps should have been handled. I just don't see the humility in that. And I pay Chris Rock great tribute for being able to maintain his bearing and continue the show. So being humble is big in my book. Very big.
Oh yeah. And I see it all the time, especially people my age or younger. Oh, I'm 25. You can't stay 25 forever. Once you hit 30, and as you get up in your 40s, because my sister, bless her soul, and she'll probably, if she was here, she'd probably be punching the wind. I tell the story about her all the time. She literally cried when she turned 30, because you know how women are, we are about our age, especially Black women. We're just like, oh my God. So we give you that look when you mention the age thing, like, how old is she? And you're like, no. But she literally cried when she turned 30 because she thought she was getting old. I said, no, it's not that. It's that you hit a big milestone in your life. And that light bulb starts to go off. You see things clearer in a different vision. And for me, I'm a Scorpio, so my birthday will be Halloween, October 31st. Once I hit 29, and then before you know it, bam, 30, it's a completely different mindset. It's a completely different aura. And people are like, well, how do you sound so mature for your age? Life's experience has molded me from a little girl into a woman. And you guys see it here firsthand. And I'm very transparent and open about it. And that's another thing. Be transparent with your supporters. Let them know, like, this is me. This is real. Take me or leave me. And that humble part, that human part, is what people will appreciate about you even more. And that's why I am the way I am. And I do it unapologetically.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, it's just a wonderful thing, this thing called life, that we have the opportunity to participate in. When we lie down at night, Allah puts us to sleep. And it's much like death. And if it weren't for the grace and the goodness of Allah, you would not wake up. Many do not. So, we have to come to terms with who and what we are, and then we need to be able to work it.
Oh, we got another question from Liz. What do you both believe is the human age of comfort with self?
Human age of comfort. Wow. I'm getting real deep on this show. Yeah.
That's the fashion dolls. They think whatever it is, they think it. I ask the questions.
For me, the human age of comfort, see, now you're going to make me tell you how old I am. But the human age for comfort came in my early 50s. Yeah. And I think that comfort for me is not just a financial thing, but it's just being happy with the me that I see. And that doesn't mean I'm complacent and I'm not going to improve the me that I see, but I am content with that me. In my 30s, it was challenging because I was still kind of reckless. In my 40s, I was a little better, but I was still, going through some interesting me changes. Hit the 50s, now it's time to just kind of ease back on the throttle and start focusing on sharpening the arrowhead as opposed to making more arrows. Yeah.
For me, I would have to say it was about 20, 21, 24, around that age bracket, because it's just like, okay, you're a young adult now. You can't do the things you were doing when you were 19, 18, 17 years old. You can't keep continuing to do that. It's called insanity. So as you get into your adulthood, you see that it's a bigger picture and a bigger reality than what you used to do when you were in your teen years or in your childhood years. You can't do what you used to do. So that's when I realized that I was comfortable with who I am and myself in my teens, 20s, late teens, late 20s, around that age range. So now for me, it's really hitting real. Like you can lose it all. And I've been humbled too, trust me. I've been humbled along the way too. And my friends hold me accountable. Someone said this when I did an interview with them. They said, accountability is something that I want for myself. And when I asked them their rapid five, they said accountability. I said, ooh, so that's a good one. And trust me, my friends and family have held me accountable for things that I've done, throughout the years of my life. And that's molded me into the person that you guys see today. We're all not perfect. We all have some sort of flaw in some sort of way. And it's just like, it's up to you to sit in that mirror and reflect on whether you want to work on it or not. And me, I've sat and I've reflected and changed a few things, and I'm happy with the person that I am today. So, yeah. Do we have any more questions before we conclude this amazing conversation, Fashion Dolls? Because it's been very interesting, the conversation in here, the intellect, and I hope you guys are all taking something from this. These are real people's stories, and just from this, I hope it can help the next person. Flow lead to self-acceptance. Flaws lead to self-acceptance. Absolutely. And I remember I would pick myself apart so bad. Like, you could work on this, you could work on that. And I said this just the other day, that we're our own worst critics. Even when I've done interviews, and this is something true to you, I don't really watch my interviews. I do it for you guys, for the fashion dolls to watch them and enjoy them and go back and use it as a capsule in time. But I never really watch my interviews. And I've stopped doing that because I will always pick out something that I could have done a little bit better. Maybe your questioning could have been better. Maybe you could have did this way. Maybe you could have did that. And then at the end of the interview, after I've had my guests on, they'd be like, you did amazing. You look beautiful. You did all of this, da, 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 da. So for me, I would go back and pick myself apart. So that's why I've kind of just stopped. I don't really watch them. That's for you guys to enjoy.
I have a parting tidbit of thought for your audience, Stevie, if I may. Your words are spells, if you will, because every word is a combination of letters. And when those letters are put together, they spell something. So, concerning yourselves, the spells that you cast must be correct. If you are a negative spell caster, then the spells you cast upon yourselves in negativity will only breed negative results. A lot of people nowadays are focusing on this manifestation discussion, that you can manifest what you want, that you can manifest this and manifest that, but they're not telling you the whole story. What they're not telling you is that in order to properly manifest, you have to change your mind and you have to change your mouth, because the relationship between the two has got to be in order. So speak the right things concerning yourself. Speak the right things concerning others. After all, God started this whole thing by doing what? Speaking. He spoke. And in order for God to have spoke, he first had to think. And that thought became word, and that word became real. So let your words become real in your lives. Only embrace that which is good. Speak good of everyone. Encourage people. Tell them how great they are. Tell them how wonderful they are. And maybe, just maybe, that manifestation will begin to happen for you.
And not only that, but a smile or just I love women, we love to compliment each other. So just a compliment would even go along the way. Just a smile or a positive word. Like Liz, she asked you in the beginning of the interview, what was your power word? My power word would have to be happiness, would have to be joy. You know, I think of unicorns and bubblegum and,
Chocolate.
and having fun.
Actually, my word is chocolate.
That's my word.
Chocolate.
And that would be my power word, happiness, joy, because I love to. There's so much. My friend, shout outs to my brother Sky. He said there's so much negativity out here in the world. When he tunes in, he watches this platform. We need something positive. We need something productive, like a breath of fresh air. And I'm glad I can be that to people. It is so much going on in the world. And if I can be a breath of fresh air to a person, I definitely will continue on.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Crooked lines leads to walls. Absolutely. And I choose to go on the straight and narrow path. I choose to go on the straight and narrow path. I don't want to get sidetracked.
Yeah.
I want to stay focused. 2020 vision, focused on where I need to go. Do we have any more questions or comments before we conclude this powerful, groundbreaking interview? Because it got pretty deep, the questioning. I was like, oh, God. But overall, it was an amazing interview. So I'm going to let Mr. Stephan close this interview out. Is there My last final question for you is, what advice would you give to young men and young women that are watching this interview that want to get into acting or directing? What advice would you give them?
Well, don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Your idea is the best idea you've had because it's yours. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not enough, that you can't do enough, because you can do it. You can do it. As a matter of fact, stop saying what you're trying to do and simply say what you're doing. Because if you're trying, then you're doing it. You just haven't finished it yet. And that's all I got.
Absolutely. All right, Fashion Dolls, and let everyone know where they can follow you and be on the lookout for these new projects.
Yeah. Well, you can always follow me on my IMDb page under Stephan L. Jackson. You can follow me on Instagram at Stephan L. Jackson _actor. Or you can go to my website at www.stephanljackson.com. And you can check me out there. STEPHAN, middle initial L as in Lima, Jackson, JACKSON.
All right, Fashion Dolls, there you go. No show tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, but tune in Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We've got some amazing guests. Friday, we have Jay Amora. We're going to talk fashion. And Thursday, we have Damien, who's also an actor and director, coming on the show as well. But tomorrow, this diva is going to be getting some rest. So I will see you guys Thursday. I love you all, and you guys, please be safe. Take care and love one another. And remember what Stephan told you as well, too.
Thank you.
Be critical. Thank you so much for this incredible conversation, and I would love to have you back in the Dollhouse in the future.
Indeed. Look forward to it. Take care.
You too. Take care, Fashion
Bye-bye.
Dolls.